welcome back to The Sober Broker. Today's guest is Cierra Gaddis, an insurance broker and realtor out of the Lexington, North Carolina area. Cierra's story began in her early 20s when alcohol and heroin were part of her life, a defining moment where she had to unfortunately leave her son behind in Florida became the turning point that forced her to really confront everything. 8 years sober and stable, she rebuilt her life through faith, therapy, family, strict daily discipline, and she's not just sober, she's completely has rebuilt her life, rebuilt her career and her belief, and which leads to her identity. Her message is simple but powerful. There's certainly a life on the other side of addiction. Cierra, welcome to The Sober Broker.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to tell my story and help other recovering addicts. So thank you for having me, Patrick.
Absolutely. So before we launch into the business aspect, I really want to talk about and understand your foundation, because sobriety isn't just about removing substances, but it's really about reshaping everything after it and how that is, rebuilds your identity in the process. So when you look back into your early 20s, what did addiction steal from you, personally and professionally?
It stole my pride, my dignity, my control over life. It stole my motherhood as well as moments with my kids that I'll never get back. It stole basically everything. I lost everything, and it was hard to cope with. But I just always knew I was meant for more, even during active addiction. And I think that's what really helped me.
At that time, what did you believe about yourself?
I really didn't have any goals for my life. I was really living aimlessly, didn't really think about the future. I was thinking about the present moment every day, because that's what you had to do when you were on drugs. You had to think about the present. How are you going to get your next fix? How are you going to get more money? So when you're an addict, you really don't think about your life past that moment in the present, I guess is the best way to explain it. You really don't have any goals, nothing.
Yeah. So if you could compare from a mirror dimension side, present life versus current, what do you believe about yourself today?
That's a very deep question. I never really thought about that.
Belief and identity is a lot as far as, how you look at yourself and the outcomes that you have in your life and, where you're going. And I certainly, look at it as kind of like a roadmap. You pull up Google Maps and you put in a destination, there's a lot of turns and switchbacks and highways that you take and side roads you take to be able to get to where you're going. So kind of use that to help, with your understanding of what you believe yourself to be and what you believe of your future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did the best I could with what I had. So me compared to the old me, I would say I didn't love myself at all. I really didn't care what happened to me when I was in my early 20s. It was more of impressing outside sources, outside people, trying to live up to other people's standards. And I come from a family where they want you to go to college and have this great job and so much pressure to be perfect and not mess up. And when you finally mess up, they want nothing to do with you. So I lived with that. And I think that's another reason why it pushed me to the point where I started doing things I wasn't supposed to. Started drinking heavily, hanging out with the wrong crowd, trying to impress boys. But the Cierra today, no. I have a lot more self-respect. I learned to love myself, even though it took a lot for me to do that. I built up my confidence. I built up my knowledge, and I fell into spirituality and faith and a lot of hard work. But I don't even know who that Cierra is anymore. And I'm really happy to say that.
Yeah. Often, when I look at my life and my story, it's hard to imagine, the stuff that you go through and, the choices that you willingly made at the time. Often, I feel like past traumas, and certainly, alienation from friends and family can certainly make you feel like you have to make those decisions because as humans, we want connection.
Yeah.
And sometimes we strive for that connection however we can get it.
Yeah.
Often, it's led from people that we shouldn't be hanging out with and doing things that we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To impress, to do stupid stuff in order to impress other people is crazy to me now.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. The perspective really shifts away from others and the external and the modern world that we build up to our life around
Yeah.
friendships that we have, core group of people that we used to hang out with, and a lot of it can become your identity, and it's hard to really shift away from that.
Yeah. And as you get older, you get wiser, and then none of that is important. None of that. It's who you are, trying to figure out what your purpose is in life and figuring out what you want to do with your life. I don't really care about what other people think anymore. It doesn't even fathom in my mind anymore. I'm always going to be a good person and I'm always going to treat people with respect. But at the same time, I'm never going to bring myself down to that level anymore. I do not have any regrets from my past life, my, addictions, because I've learned a lot. It made me grow. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a call this morning with an Instagram growth coach just to
Mm,
try to help. I mean, coaching is great for anything, right? I mean, you
yeah.
can have a sobriety coach, you can have Instagram coach or social media coach or physical coach. All different types of people who help guide you, down
Yeah.
that path. And in this particular instance, we were really talking about basically the upscale of things. Like once you hit, a certain level of followers, how that, can greatly influence and easily get to, 25,000.
Yeah.
And so when you look at, your life and you're down here and then now you're up here,
Yeah.
8 years sober, that doesn't happen by accident. And the stability that comes with it is really peaceful and it's built with purpose. So when did sobriety shift from not just using, but to becoming someone new?
Can you break that question down for me a little bit?
Yeah. So like in the point where, maybe you're at your lowest, I think you mentioned, when we last spoke that having to really leave your son in Florida, was that truly the moment where things shifted for you and you decided to, you know, make a change?
Yes. Yes, because me and my son have never been apart since he was born. He was 3 years old when I had to leave him in Florida with his grandparents, and that was really the moment in my, life where I knew I had to get sober because I already lost custody of my oldest child from alcoholism, and I was like, "I'm repeating a cycle, and it's happening again, and I don't want that to happen again, so I need to do something about it." And so in that moment of me getting in the car, um, about to drive 8 hours straight to back to North Carolina, I spent a lot of time thinking about my life. I had my son's blanket. I had gospel music playing. I would have done anything in that moment in order for me to change my life. And that's when I finally spoke to God for the first time. I was like, if there is a God out there, please help. Like I was crying, snot everywhere. Like I was begging and pleading and screaming that whole 8 hour ride back to North Carolina. And the next day, uh, ended up getting into an outpatient treatment center, which is a miracle back then, because there was a lot of wait list. So it was very hard compared to nowadays. Uh, and never turned back. And I was off of heroin. I was on the MAT program, but at the same time, I wasn't on the streets anymore. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't shooting up in my car, you know, and I've been sober ever since.
Hmm. It's a powerful shift.
Yeah.
Was it a long drive?
Out loud for the first time. 8 hours. Oh yeah, it was a long drive. I only had $20 in my pocket. I had, one shot left of, H, in order to keep me, from withdrawals. Ended up having to stop at a gas station in South Carolina because I was running out of gas and had no more money, and had to basically ask people in the line at the gas station if they could help me with gas. Like, that was the first time I've ever done that. I've never panhandled. I've always, it was, my partner who was always panhandling and getting money and boosting and all that. So it took a lot for me to ask somebody for help. I'm not the type of person to ever do that. Even now, it's hard for me to ask people for help. But somehow, just out of nowhere, I walk back to my car and someone pulls up and gives me $40. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I break down in my car. And yeah, just crazy moments like that. I've experienced so many crazy moments in the past 8 years that I cannot, tell you that God is not real. He is real to me. There's too many crazy moments that have happened to me where it's just hard to explain. But yeah, that drive was very long, very long, but it was much needed. I don't think if I didn't do that by myself, I wouldn't have been here today.
What was the purpose of coming up to North Carolina?
I'm originally from North Carolina, born and raised, Ashburn, North Carolina. I moved back down here because my parents live here, and that's the only place I could think of to stay. So I reached out to my mom, and at the time, me and my mom did not have a good relationship. I did not like her. She did not like me. I liked my stepdad because he pushed her to be a mother. But at the same time, I needed to go somewhere. Because the relationship with my son's father's parents that I was living with in Florida diminished because we were stealing from them in order to, you know, fuel our fix. So they didn't even know. No one in my personal life knew I was on drugs at all, unless I told them. Because I looked like this. Like I looked the same. I looked normal, like a functioning adult. Um, the way me and my mother's relationship changed is because of my brother, my oldest brother, Junior. Addiction runs in our family. So he was on drugs. He is still not the same anymore. He's in prison in Texas right now. But he was struggling, and my mom told me, I told her, stop, giving things to him, stop, enabling him, basically. She's like, you don't know anything about what's going on with him. You don't know anything about addiction. And this was me 3 months sober at that time, living with them. And I finally told her, I was like, I kind of do know because I'm actually 3 months sober and I was on drugs for 3 years without you knowing. And that kind of like changed something inside of her because she was never the same after that day. And our relationship is totally different. She is my best friend. She is my support system. But yeah, like everything happens for a reason. So I'm kind of glad I went back to North Carolina. I'm glad I reached out to my parents because I was not going to do that. I was going to move in with a friend. But yeah, that's why I came back to North Carolina. And I'm really happy I did. And how things turned out after that really changed for the better in every way.
Yeah. So you mentioned in your drive, you finally were able to hear from God and talk to him about, your life and obviously what you wanted to change about it.
Yeah.
How did that impact you?
Like I said, I even like things that you can't see. I don't like asking for help. I think I can do it on my own. I've always had to do it on my own since I was 12 years old, but it really it makes you feel, I don't know how to explain it. Like I felt weak and broken, but that's how God wants you, when he when he will actually reach out and take your hand and actually help you is when you're the weakest and the most broken in your present life. And I felt that. I just surrendered basically on that car ride.
That's good. Yeah. 1 Corinthians 6:12 says that I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. And I think that's so crucial because when you're in, addiction, you are completely being mastered by something else other than yourself and other than by God. And so in my opinion, whenever you really find freedom is when you find God and when you start trusting, you know, your inner self to be able to really start making better decisions, to be able to, call upon him for whenever you need help. And yeah, if a substance or behavior or desire controls you, scripture views that as a real problem.
It is. You can literally tell when someone is not there when they're on drugs. You can literally look into their eyes. Like I experienced this with my son's father. Like it was just black. Like there's no light in it. Like he had no soul at all while he was in addiction. I still had light. I still had hope in my heart. So I knew that I was going to get through it. But he was totally lost. He was living when I left Florida, he was living in a tent behind a Walmart. So, yeah, you've,
Yeah, no, you're good. Perspective is powerful.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
What does it look like today for you to be in your control of your life instead of in the past where you were, out of control?
I was just going with the flow. I did whatever there was to do. But nowadays, I stick to a strict routine. I have control over my life and what I want to do and what I don't want to do. It, I have structure. Structure is a thing that fuels me every day and makes me make the right choices for me and my family. I didn't have that back then, and it's so crazy to think about how I have that now. I never would have expected to be the person I am today at all.
What a blessing.
It is a big blessing, huge blessing. I was always the person that people made fun of because I drank too much. I was bullied or put down because guys liked me so much that I was invited to all these after parties to the point where my friends left me at an after party and I had to drive myself home while I was wasted because they were nowhere to be found. They wouldn't answer their phone. And the thing is, it was also my sister in that car with my friends. And for her to do that, it's crazy. So I just decided to hop in my car like a dummy and go home. And on that drive home, I was just thinking about getting back to my oldest daughter when she was like 4 at that time. But I thought I went down the wrong side of the highway in Greensboro. And so I stupidly tried to do a U-turn and ended up hitting another car. Ended up getting charged. Well, broke my collarbone, ended up in the hospital. The police tried to do a blood test on me to get my alcohol percentage, but ended up just getting charged with reckless driving, and my pending DUI was dropped. It was crazy. But yeah, situations like that just really put your life in a totally different perspective on how people feel about you. So I'm never going to put myself in those situations again where I am helpless, where I have to get in a car intoxicated because people left me. I'm never going to get that wasted. And it really shows you who really have your back, especially since it was your own blood sister that would do that to you.
But God had your back, though.
God had my back. Yes.
Crazy. Yeah, you could have been a lot worse.
I didn't even think about God back then when that happened. I just knew I just thought I was lucky. This was before I was on heroin and stuff. This is when I was in, 18, 19, getting into clubs and, drinking at bars because people just thought I was 21. But yeah, I didn't really think about God at that time. I knew there was a higher power, but just thought I was lucky, like I said. But I know now it was God. It was God.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of funny how when you're not, in tune with God, how when you're looking back, you're like, wow, he was there like the whole
Yeah,
time. It's just I didn't recognize it, and yeah, I think it's the coolest part
it is.
about being connected with him and looking back at your past and seeing all the times that he was there for you, even though that you were in distress and you know, kind of in the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. It makes me very emotional when I think about it because when someone loves you that much, it's very hard not to believe them, you know?
Amen. Yeah, yeah, it's really powerful.
It is. He's
So
done
you
so much
mentioned,
for me.
yeah, yeah. So you mentioned your today now, like your discipline and things, and how you challenge yourself daily. Walk me through what a day in the life looks like for you now.
So every morning, I wake up at 5:30 a.m., have some me time, 30 minutes before I wake my kids up to get them ready for school and daycare. I do Bible study, 15 minutes, read the Bible, then I write in my Bible study book. And that takes about 30 minutes. And then after that, take my kids to school at 7 and daycare. And then I work out until 8:30 a.m. Then, get ready for the day. And then I start work at 10. I do insurance as well. So I work remote for my current position with my current brokerage. And then I pick up my kids and cook dinner and settle down, do some things for my real estate stuff, for my continuing education that I'm still working on in order to get that done and out of the way.
It's never ending.
That's basically it. That's literally my life 5 days a week. And I love it.
Yeah,
Like, I love this boring life. It's amazing. I never thought I would say that,
yeah.
but it's
No,
great.
yeah. When you're a kid, you kind of just chase what's exciting, what's fun,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and you never really think about how much you would appreciate, the boring life.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I have so much excitement back then, so many adventures, so many crazy moments where, like, FBI coming to the house and knowing every person I've hung out with and have family with, taking all the computers inside the house because they think my daughter's father is doing counterfeit money, and him almost, shooting himself and me with a sawed-off shotgun when I was 8 months pregnant with our daughter. There's, him ended up in prison for 12 years because he robbed a bank and fled to Kentucky with his wife that he was only with for 6 months. And almost getting shot again by my son's father because he didn't think the gun was loaded and almost shot me in the knee until I smacked it away and he shot it through the trailer wall and a guitar. So, yeah, I've had some crazy moments,
Yeah,
I must
I'd
say.
say. Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a
yeah.
good story.
I got a
So
lot more.
when it comes back to like your life now and your structure that you have, that obviously protects your sobriety because you have your kids back, you have that structure, you have that stability, and you have the discipline, obviously, to choose to never go back. So in business life, that certainly does help protect your income, protect your stability.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It does. I'm very thankful for everything I have. Like, I never thought that I would make 6 figures at the age of 26 years old. I just knew right then that I did something with my life. I made it. I'm a success. I'm a successful agent. Like, I never thought I would be saying those words. Like, those words would be coming out of my mouth. I thought I was going to be working at a retail store my whole life, and 9 to 5, paycheck to paycheck. And to have the things I have now and work towards another career in real estate, it's amazing. It's amazing what you're able to do if you really stick to it and really want it bad enough. you can do anything with your life. Like, I've been through a lot. Like, if I can get to this point in my life, I think anyone can, as long as they have faith in themselves and believe in themselves, and believe in God. Um, then yeah, anything is possible. Everyone has a purpose. You just got to find it.
Yeah. You got to dig for it.
It takes time. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of time.
Do you feel like now, looking back on your journey and in recovery, do you feel like that gives you like kind of the upper hand in the business world?
Yeah, I would say so, because it really helped me learn a lot about other people, as well as after I got sober, I started feeling things I never felt before, like energy and vibes and reading a situation. And because I've been in almost any situation that you can think of, and been around so many people that you would never think been through crazy, situations in their lives. It helped me not judge people. It helped me want to listen to people's life stories. That's why I never got along with people my own age or people younger than me, is because I just love people that have, a story to tell, that's rough around the edges, that has been through life, been through hell and back, and still made it through. But I guess that's what really helps me when it comes to my clients, because I'm able to sit there and listen, sit there and not judge, sit there and relate. I'm able to mirror people and feel their energy even through the phone. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That clarity goes a long way.
it does.
Yeah. So you checked faith, therapy, and family as major pillars in your transformation. And that tells me like it's not just your behavior, but it was like really a spiritual transformation.
It
So
was.
how does faith influence the way that you lead and with your work and your clients?
Faith is really a big contender in my life and the way that I do things. I know that if I'm not supposed to do something, something's going to get in my way from doing it. And that just tells me I'm not supposed to do it in the first place. Like, when I think about it in a way of when you're driving and you're used to having road rage, but someone cuts you off. But I used to get mad about that all the time. Like, why are you cutting me off? Or why are you driving so slow in the fast lane? And I'm like, there is a reason because of it. I feel like God is doing that in order to prevent you from having an accident. God is doing that in order, to put you in the right situation at the right time. So that's how I feel like faith is leading me. Everything that happens for a reason,
Yeah.
even though you
So you
don't know
believe
the
in
reason.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you believe in divine intervention.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I feel like faith really leads us to that understanding of it because, yeah, I mean, God is there all the time and he's there to help teach us and guide us and love us. And often he uses other people, other things, other situations to help form us, to be able to build that character that we need.
yeah, and the most mind blowing thing that has ever happened to me and really like instilled that there is a God is when I was about a year and a half sober. I finally got my own apartment, moved out of my parents' house, and have had my son back in my custody. And that's a crazy story that I'll tell in just a second, where how I got my son back, and where I had to kidnap him, drive to Ford, and all that. Yeah, I was having car problems. I had a white beat up Saturn that my grandparents gave me in, pristine, condition. I was reckless, so it was falling apart. I know needed a car to get to work and make money. And I just got on my knees one day and I prayed. I asked God, I was like, please, like, is there any way that you could help me get, money in order to fix my car, to get a new car? Or, I just need help. Next day, I went to my group. So I had group once a week when I was still in outpatient treatment. And one of my group members, his name was Dave. He's this nice old guy. Um, all of a sudden he pulls me after the meeting and was like, Sierra, I felt like I needed to give you something. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I felt like I need to give you this car. And I was like, what? Just add it. Like, no one knew this. No one knew. The other crazy part about it is it was the same kind of Saturn I was driving, but blue. perfect condition. He also gave me another car just out of nowhere. Just, here's a 2-door red race car. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I feel like you needed it more than I did. Just crazy situations like that. Like, yeah, God is definitely listening. He hears you.
Yeah, indeed. So you can go and branch into the story about your son if you like.
Okay, so me and his grandparents, Cameron's mom, who lived in Florida, Kevin, Cameron's stepdad, they had Alec. And me and Cameron, he got sober while he was up there. He checked himself into an outpatient treatment like 3 months after I went to North Carolina, and we were trying to work on things. But I decided I didn't want to work on things anymore and I wanted to move on with my life. And I told him he needed to move on with his life. He didn't like that. So he tried to take full custody of our son just out of nowhere, out of spite. And I don't like when someone threatens to take away my kids. I'm a mama bear. I'm going to do crazy stuff in order to protect. Like, this is the second time he's tried to kidnap our son. But I ended up the next day planning how I was going to go up there, drive up there, no one knowing about it, knowing exactly what time Cameron was going to be at work and when Alec was just going to be with his mom, his grandma. And I stayed at a hotel at the edge of Jacksonville, Florida, just 30 minutes away from their house, and ended up, as soon as Cameron going to work, I drove to his mom's house, knocked on the door. Her name is Gianna. I was like, hey, Gianna. She's like, oh, I wasn't expecting you. I was like, yeah, I didn't tell anybody. I'm just here to get my son. And she's like, oh, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm just here to get my son and take him back to North Carolina. I have my own place. I'm sober. We're good. And I didn't like the fact that, Cameron tried to threaten to take full custody away from me. So I'm ready to go. She didn't want to let me inside. I had to actually physically push her, and we ended up getting into an altercation where I did punch her and grabbed my son, threw him into the car. She ran outside calling the cops saying, this woman is trying to kidnap my grandson. And I was like, his mother. But yeah, ended up driving straight back to North Carolina. Didn't look back. We have a good relationship now, just to make everyone aware of that. But yeah, when you try to take something, especially my child, I will do anything to get them back. So don't mess with me in that area. But yeah,
for sure.
I think it kind of did traumatize him. I'm sure it did. He didn't talk for 2 days after that, which I totally understand. But he's better now. He's 11 years old. He's a typical boy. He's happy. He's weird. He loves things. But yeah, that was the first story of my son being kidnapped. But the one that really hurt the most is before I was, so Cameron was the one who started heroin when we were living together, had our son Alec for 6 months, had our own place, had everything we needed. I was a stay-at-home mom. Cameron worked. And then I just noticed things were being weird, were off. He was always in the bathroom for long periods of time. He was always sleepy. He was always gone, saying he went, going fishing or something like that. And I just didn't understand because I never really experienced that, even though my oldest daughter's father was a recovering addict before I got with him. But he was in an active addiction when we were together. So I just didn't really know the signs, but I ended up finding, needles stuck in the vents or stuck under the bed or in the closet. And I was like, okay, I put 2 and 2 together and, confronted him. And he didn't like that I found out. So one night I was drunk. He was high. We were arguing about him stopping, quitting, but he ended up, as when I went to the bathroom, he went in the bedroom, my son's bedroom, took our son and left. I went out there and they were gone. And I just had an idea of where he went. He took him to a friend's house, Joe and Brooke's house. And I decided to sober up, go over there in the morning, call the police while Cameron was at work. They didn't do anything. of course, this is North Carolina, but ended up finding out where Brooke and Joe's house was at, driving down there. And as soon as I got down there, Cameron was driving right behind me, trying to block me into the parking space. So I couldn't get out, even if I did get him. But ended up barging into the house. Brooke coming downstairs holding her son, who's about 6 months old, and I snatched my son out her arms and I told them, shame on you. Y'all have nothing to do with this. Put him in my car. And just in time, Brooke's parents were coming in the driveway. So Cameron had to back out. So as soon as he backed out, I took the chance to, zoom right out of there. But yeah, just so many crazy situations where you shouldn't be in the first place. But how I got on heroin is to see why he couldn't stop. Like, I'm the person who always likes to think in other people's, perspective, point of views. So I try to wrap my head around, if he loves us enough, why can't he stop? How does this make him feel? So I went up to Cameron and I was just like, I want to try it. Let me try it just so I can see how you feel. And I ended up shooting it for the first time. Like, he helped me. And I realized at that very moment why you are easily addicted to that stuff. It makes you feel like you're getting comforted by your parents. Like, you feel warm and fuzzy and
That's
no more
amazing.
pain. Exactly. Yeah. It just took all my problems away and I was just happy and warm. And I like that feeling. No more pain. But I think what triggered really that addiction as well, you know, just going through so much stuff in my life. I didn't know why I was going through so much crap. Like, nothing good ever happened to me. I felt like I was never looking at the good. I was always looking at the bad. And it just felt like nothing was going right in my life. So, especially when Cameron was on the news, he ended up passing out from heroin with our son in the back of the car. And it was broadcasted on the news from High Point, North Carolina. And everyone knew about it. It was on Facebook. People were calling me and texting me and messaging me and all that. Like, are you okay? What's going on? Where's the mom at in the comments? Where's the mom? Where's mom? And reporters were knocking on my door trying to get my side of the story and leaving their cards. And I was just in my house just by myself. So, CPS was called on me and all that, you know. And I had nobody. I had absolutely nobody. Ended up calling my mom thinking she was going to help, but that was at the moment where we didn't have a good relationship. And the only thing she told me, and it just stings to this day, is suck it up. Suck it up, Sierra. And I realized in that moment, I am the only person that is able to get me out of this situation. And I did. Even though it was a long road until I did, I did not give up.
Well, I'm proud of you that you did.
Thank you. I'm very proud of myself, especially since I'm the only one out of my whole friend group to make it out of their 20s. I'm a very lucky individual, and I feel like I'm living through them as well. I need to do it for them, the people that did not make it out of addiction.
What would
I
you
kind of
tell?
have like survivor's guilt for it.
Yeah, it's totally understandable. Very similar thing, um, back when I started dealing, blues and perk 30s were a huge thing, huge
Oh, yeah.
epidemic where we were at. I
Yeah.
mean, across the country, of course, but for our region, especially in a mountain town, where there's not much to do, kids resort to those things. And I lost about 12 friends between 2 years
Yeah.
of that epidemic that really swept through the area. It's not easy. I mean,
It's not.
I was I was one of the ones that I was scared to try it because of how unconscious it made people.
Yeah.
But I was there with friends who did it. I was kind of like the nurse on call, if you will. If
Yeah.
anything
The
wrong,
babysitter.
the babysitter. Yeah, yeah. Um, and I mean, there's a few other guys that I would hang out with that didn't do it too, but um, at the end of the day, the people that did got off really bad on them, lost their kids, lost their
Yeah.
family, lost trust in everyone. And
Yeah,
it's hard to get back. And it's
it
hard
is.
to reform your life afterwards. So
It
kudos to
is.
you reshaping your life and, breaking out of that cycle, rebuilding something that is so great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I'm very proud of you as well.
So I'm curious, after going through, your life and your past and all that, what would you tell someone in early sobriety who feels like maybe their life is over, their business is done? What would you, tell them to give them hope?
Mm. That, well, I would say to not give up. Don't give up. That's what I had to tell myself through everything. I'm not going to give up. And I always had this voice in the back of my head, which I know now was God whispering to me through addiction that I was always meant for more. I always heard during the worst times in my life, you are meant for more. And I feel like everyone, like I said earlier, has a purpose in life. Just because you're having a tough time right now doesn't mean it's gonna be forever. It's gonna be temporary as long as you make it temporary and make it a lesson that you can carry and take with you for the rest of your life. Just don't beat yourself up for making mistakes and doing bad things because nobody's perfect. As long as you know who you are and what you want to accomplish in life, even though it seems so far away, just at least try. That's what I had to do. I I tried, and look at where I am now. Can't really elaborate on what I can tell others because people have different situations and different stories, and I'm going through different things. So that's a very hard question to answer for me right now. But like I said,
It's
all
okay.
I'll say is just don't give up.
Yeah. I
Mm.
mean, that alone, can be enough as
It
long
was
as
enough for
someone
me.
has, yeah, I think as long as someone has someone else who has faith in them, someone who knows that they can overcome, their weakest moments.
Mhm.
That's enough, I think, for someone to continue to push.
Oh, yeah.
I got another heavy hitter here. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
If your son were to listen to this episode one day, what do you hope that he would hear?
A mother that didn't give up on her kids, and that you don't have to be perfect. Oh, what the message I feel like I hope my kids get out of this is I did the best with what I had, and I hope it was enough. And they're the reason why I'm here today. Hmm. That's very. Why'd you have to ask that question?
Got to bring out the tear jerkers at some point. That's really beautiful. I mean, life is hard, and I don't think our kids will really truly understand all the stuff that we ever went through, But in the grand scheme of it, you know, they model after us, and I think that you're the strongest you've ever been, and no matter what, they're gonna see you for who you are today, not for who you were in the past and all that.
Yeah, I hope so. Very, very wishful thinking. So I just hope they understand that, like I said, I did my best, and I hope that's enough for them.
So when he sees you working now, disciplined, structured, what do you hope he learns about the strength that you exhibit today?
Um, that no matter what you go through, as long as as long as you I really don't know how to answer that question right now. My whole mind is fuzzy right now, but
It's all right.
I apologize.
It's hard to circle back around after, you know,
You just laid
you
one on me, and that's
I
just
I landed on it. Yeah. Well, thank you for saying all that.
of course.
And I mean, from you being, you know, 8 years sober, alcohol and heroin in your early 20s to, you know, really discipline life and
Mm,
building your faith and, you know, recreating, you know, your experience in motherhood and now into business and your role in leadership and building more and more things into your life. What do you really see like the 5 years look like, the next 5 years?
everything that I have manifested will come true. I feel like that I'm gonna have everything that I've ever wanted and more because, uh, I worked for it. Didn't give up. I took every challenge by the hand, and I conquered it. I feel like I'm gonna be a successful realtor, that I'm gonna make a name for myself in this industry and, have everything I've ever wanted. I'm just going by the affirmations that I tell myself every morning, as well as the things that I manifest in order for me to, look towards my goals, look towards the things that I want in order to motivate me in order to get them. So
What do you tell yourself in the morning?
I tell myself I'm strong. I tell myself I'm wise, that I'm confident, that I'm lovable, that I'm enough, which was very hard for me to say that one. I am enough, that I am worth it, that I am important, um, that I'm wealthy, I'm abundant, I'm smart enough. Like it really builds yourself up. The one of the hardest things that I told myself is I love myself. That was one of the I couldn't say that without breaking down for a while because I didn't even know who I was or if I loved myself. But now I say it with confidence after saying it every morning. And it really changed the way I view myself and the way I carry myself. So I really do recommend affirmations. They may sound weird and crazy, but they do work.
No, they're everything. I, uh, I literally pretend like I'm talking to someone else whenever I'm doing it, but looking myself in the mirror, you know,
Yep.
like completely stepping out of like me internally talking to myself, but like, you know, like if I say to myself, like, I love you, like I'm like grabbing it, you know, grab,
Yep. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
grabbing
Yeah.
myself by the face,
You
I
got
love you.
to.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you have to, you know, you have to put yourself in that position of being able to, get yourself to that point where, you know, you do love yourself and you're
Yeah.
reminded of all the great things that you bring to the table and who you are and what you're becoming and everything that your life will be. You know,
Yeah.
it starts today,
It does. It does
right in that
start
moment.
today.
Well, Sierra, what stands out to me most is obviously not just, you know, that you use drugs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You have completely rebuilt your identity, you rebuilt your confidence, you rebuilt your career, and you did it just with clarity, not chaos.
I did.
And there are people listening right now who feel like the worst season has disqualified them. And whether you want to look at it like this or not, your life proves that that is not true. The fall is not the final chapter. Sobriety isn't about shrinking your life, it's truly about expanding it. And it's about waking up clear, making decisions with strength, and leading your family with integrity, building something that truly lasts. So, thank you for your honesty today and your vulnerability. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for showing us that there's truly life on the other side of addiction.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Patrick. I really enjoyed telling bits of my life story, and hopefully it does resonate with some of your listeners and give some hope that if I can do it and go through those things, they can get through it too. And it's hard. It's very hard, but it's worth it.
No, it definitely is, and it's something that you have to continue to dig for and
Mm,
climb for.
yeah. Some situations feel like they're hopeless, feel like you're not going to get anywhere, and it's a waste of time. But you just got to wake up one day and say, I want to change, and really believe that you can, and picture a life that you actually think you're going to be happy in, and then go for it. And then everything will fall in place.
Amen.
Mm.
Well, thank you again for being on the show, telling your
Of course.
story, and just being vulnerable with me.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I'll talk to you soon then.
Sounds good. Bye.